Go ahead and check this background out. I got my Patreon up. And for the tiers, you got some affirmations that you guys can listen to, go to sleep with. I just uploaded a few more. I also have replays or interviews that are coming. So there's always going to be new content. But right now, what I'm focused on are the affirmations, the sound affirmations that you guys can listen to on my Patreon. And do have the spring 3-day workshop for $35 coming up on self-talk. It's one of 5 workshops that I'm getting ready to do for you guys. So April 13th. So that's 2 weeks that we got. April 13th, 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can go to the link in the profile if you want to join in. After I get ready or get done doing that workshop, it will be posted as a replay. Okay. And I have 2 tiers for, you got Blue Phoenixes Rising, and then you got Green Phoenix Rising level. So one is $15 a month. And from the time that you sign up is when they're going to charge you guys. Okay. So let's say you sign up on the 15th, they'll charge you the next month on the 15th. Okay. So those workshop replays goes to the $45 tier. Okay. So if you do pay $45 a month, you get our affirmations and sound sleep, relaxation, meditation sounds. You get the interviews, the podcast interviews, the full episodes. You also get the workshop or masterclass replays. There are going to be some times where I'll just open it up for everybody on every tier, especially if I feel like, the Most High is leading me to let everybody know about it. As you can see, I starting anew. I was pulled to go ahead and chop my locks off and start anew. And that, it's the 3rd time that I've done it. And, after you get through, this is when for me, this is one of the signs and symbols spiritually that I know when something new is coming in and I need a fresh start. And so purging with, quitting addictions that the Most High has told me to quit, amping up, exercising, and sometimes just with the hair, because all that's, I remember I was on the streets and I had locks and before that. And so probably about 8 years, 8 years. Hi, thank you for the likes and loves. So about 6 or 8 years, I had these locks. And after coming through that hurdle of, going through those dark nights of the soul for 3 years, right? And then having the bosses, the final bosses of the game come in, right? And I don't know what's over or not. All I know is that I'm healing now, as well, and more things come up, which causes me to do more workshops, to write for more workshops for you guys. So anyway, story about my bald head. I haven't seen my scalp in a long time. I was like, I was feeling it. So anyway, yes, April 13th, 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, California time, West Coast time, is a $35 workshop, 3-day workshop on self-talk. And self-talk is extremely important when you're trying to, when you're on that path of change, right? Because one of the ways that demonic spirits and entities, and it's been amazing because earlier today, or earlier yesterday, I'm working graveyard. So earlier yesterday in the evening, even singers, professional singers, are talking about witchcraft and spiritual attacks and psychic attacks. And it's absolutely amazing, because one thing that I realized on the streets when I was going through my healing journey is that people will program you to think a certain way, and they will use bullying and intimidation and coercion. They will use slander. They will use manipulation. They will use, anything that they can to get you off of your path. One thing I realized when I was out there asking God, why was it that I felt, what was it about me? Because I was like, I am absolutely talented. There's a lot of things that don't come hard for me, right? And a lot of you Phoenixes can probably relate, right? Because when things don't come hard for you, people get jealous or try and make you feel bad because you're naturally gifted. So when you're naturally gifted at multiple things, they want to try your mettle. They want to say, oh, okay, you can't do this. But if you create, for somebody, especially like myself, who is creative and who is an empath, a high level empath. So when you create a toxic environment for me, I will freeze. Because part of the reason why I'm here is to destroy old stuff, destroy the rot and the decay, and build the foundation for something new. That has been my path. I didn't want to accept it for the longest time because I don't want to, just start something. I want to be there for the long haul. But a lot of times, and it's happened so many times throughout my life that I just realized people will try and demonize you for it. But no, I am that person that comes in and destroys the toxicity, sheds a light on it, and then clears it all out and helps to build the new foundation. If, maybe I may stay for a season just for the sproutlings or seedlings or whatever to come up or whatever. And then I go. And because I see that when I go someplace, right? If I go into a new area, my spiritual mom told me a long time ago, she said, you sometimes, and I got mad because it's like, I don't want to be on assignment. I want to play. I don't want to be on assignment everywhere that I go, because I'm tired of being on assignment. So she said there's some times where God will send you into an area or a place, and as an earth angel, you're sent into an area or a place to what? Heal it with whatever talent you've been given. Right? When you hear descriptions of angels, and I wasn't going to go into this, I was actually going to go into another topic, but here we go. When you hear descriptions of angels, this one specializes in this one specializes in maybe, metallurgy, or this one specializes in herbs and healing. This one specializes in the arts or poetry, sound, right? And emitting those waves. So by our destination, see, because when we come in here, we're trying to live the way that this world wants us to live. Because when we do that, then they are controlling us. They're the puppet master, right? We have autonomy in the spiritual realm where we already know. I came down here knowing certain things. I can look at somebody and just know. It's like, okay, you're full of crap, right? But it's not just with people or environments. It's my own self. It's like you get downloads as an empath, as an earth angel, you get downloads. And it's not that you're getting downloads. You're following the map, okay? There's another you above you, amongst your guides, amongst your shapeshifter relatives, right? You have a tribe around you in the spiritual realm. So when somebody tells you, basically when we come down here, and this does tie into self-talk, because basically when we come down into this plane, we're dumbed down immediately. We are traumatized immediately. Our chemicals, the chemicals in our brains change immediately. But those ones of us who are strong, who've come in with some oomph, right? It's going to take a lot for you to destroy me, right? It's going to take a lot for you to destroy me. And if you don't destroy me at a certain point in time, you're going to be destroyed, right? So they know this. But we come in with this legion of this tribal council around us that when we start, if we were to start listening or to keep listening to what the people on this earth say, we're going to get off our path, which many of us do. That's why a lot of earth angels go dormant. And then they start longing, and then they become bitter. Because I wish that I would have done such and such. Thank you for the likes and loves. I can relate to this with my life now. Yeah, I wish I would have done this. But see, when we start listening to what other people say, instead of what we already divinely know, right? So the reason why I'm doing this workshop on self-talk is because there will be other people getting into your head. There will be other entities besides your tribe, that spiritual tribe that's around you, talking to you, convincing you, manipulating you. I can't tell you how many times yesterday that I felt like I was in a mirage where things would arise that I knew, you know what I mean? Or there was a time, and it's always when I go into this area to do my laundry. It's always in this area. And yesterday it was very interesting because, as I said, you know, I've dealt with the gang stalking, and I still have stalkers. And it's like anytime what I realize is like anytime I'm happy or anytime I'm not thinking about, you know, the gang stalking or anything, and I'm just in my own energy, loving myself, and which is how I got my, you know, cut my locks. And I just told, you know, the Most High the other day, I said, because I do God talks, I recommend you guys just taking time, you know, 10, 30 minutes to talk to God and then to listen. You know, better yet, write it down, write your concerns down. And then listen, close your eyes and listen. Listen with your spiritual ears and your spiritual heart, not with the heart of the spirit, the mind of the world. Because as you see, they're trying to play God right now, right? So a lot of us get off of our path because we're listening. Somebody said, oh, you need to go to college. Now, if the Most High didn't tell you that, if your guides didn't tell you that, then why are you listening to somebody else who's trying to put that pressure on you? One thing I found out is that I never needed to go to college. I never really needed to go to high school, but my situation dictated it at that time. But I never needed to go to college, and I never needed to be in the debt, the financial debt that I'm in right now, because it is what? A business. You know what you know that you know. And one thing, you know, people who succeed tap out of the matrix. People who succeed go against the grain. They think outside of the box. You know? Good morning, beautiful inside and out. Glad this helps you. You're right. So one thing, when I was, you know, going through my dark night of the soul and going through my healing journey and trying to figure out, okay, how can I live from my best? Because I was so full of fear, because I was still carrying around that traumatized young person, that traumatized child whose family only wanted them around to use as a punching bag or a garbage can for the cluster B father and the flying monkeys that were around me. That's all. I was supposed to die. They kept, you know, putting that into my head, you know, so I never knew love, but thankfully I was full of love. I am love, right? I didn't have that family support unit, right? And if I wasn't at that time, at that age, such a young age I had a counselor actually say the only reason why, Tennille, you've lived so long is because you have this overwhelming capacity to love. She said that's the only reason why you're still alive. She even had to acknowledge that my own blood relatives wanted to kill me. I had no idea. But I took in my mind the words with that vibration of murder and death and disease that they had projected and dumped into me. That I was not enough in various ways. If you want to, I go into this and others on my YouTube channel. If you guys want to go look at that, I have the replays on there for right now. You know, like, subscribe, and share on there. So, yeah, in reckoning, yes, that is the job, to tell you how you're thinking. So here, if I would have kept that with me instead of always questioning, right? Because I always had this yearning to go home. I was like, this right here is not my home. This is not my home. But I'm the type of person that I can make stone soup. You give me a stone and we're going to have a stew. I can make a home anywhere. When I was on the streets, I made a home on the streets. When I got into a hotel, I made a home in the hotel. I can make a home anywhere. I'm an alchemist. What I want to know is how to build empires. If I can make a home in the most unsanitary, in toxic environments, then what will I do when I get into those prime environments where I can build and help other people? Right? Where I can buy land, where I can create container tiny homes for trans youth and whatnot, right? So I can go out there and I can participate. So we never give up, and see, we get back. People are like, oh, well, it's too late now. No, it's never too late. It's never too late. They will try and frustrate you. See, this is why we have to go over what we're thinking, because people will literally project as insidiously as this fan, the wind from this fan blowing on my face. They will project that into your subconscious mind and keep doing it and keep doing it, keep doing it and keep doing it. This is why they say repetition is key, because they will keep doing it, keep repeating that toxicity, keep repeating, I've been attacked. It's like, oh, you might as well give up. Stop going for your dreams. You might as well give up, because I have, like I said, stalkers, these demonic, demonly possessed people, creatures, these cluster B personalities who want to control. They can't help but control. This is what they do. And once they tap into you and you're a prime supply, there are two different types of supplies. And the first supply that cluster B personalities like is that of accolades and being center stage, front, whatever, right? The second part is having their, they get off on people telling them how wonderful and great they are. They get off on it, right? So the secondary is the family, right? The wife, the husband, the kids, the boyfriend, right? And that's why they create all this, but it's never going to be enough, because they're so grandiose that they want, everybody, if everybody's not looking at me as if I'm a god, then I have to go and have these other relationships. That's where the compartmentalization comes in, right? Because I can have all these different relationships. I can play all these different characters. They're never satisfied. They're always afraid of somebody leaving them, but they always will manipulate a situation to where they can induce, coerce people into giving them accolades where they don't deserve any. Right? So, whole life literally controlled. It's okay, though, I'm taking my life back now. And that's what you do. That's what you do. There's no, wow, it's trippy that's my whole life controlled. Yes. Yes, because I was controlled, and I was wondering, I remember coming home one day, I was in my 20s, and going to college, had a car, it was like, nobody wants to date anybody. It was weird, because it felt like nothing that I did was ever good enough. Now, I wasn't living from my childhood trauma. I'd worked through a lot of it, right? I'd worked through a lot of it to be happy, to, whatever. And your life is like layers of an onion, because when we get in here, we have to go back through and peel off all that other crap so that we can shine again. Right. And gratefully, I'm very resourceful, so I didn't have to go through a lot of the things like with the drugs or prostitution or anything like that. I went to Alcoholics Anonymous, and I sometimes people in Alcoholics Anonymous would dab in it. But so I would do the 12-step groups and whatnot, but it was more for socialization, right? It was more for socialization than it was for, I'm going to play this frequency, because I have one of these demonic entities over me, and it really ticks me off. They've been in and out all day, or at least from yesterday. So if you guys hear something, it's going to be the frequencies. But anyway, so this is why we think about what we're thinking, because people will intimidate us and bully us, and they can just be toxic. And sometimes when people don't deal with their abuse, what ends up happening is they pass on that abuse. So there's the frequency, you guys. So just bear with me. Feels so much better. If you guys haven't, go to Altona 777 on YouTube. He has a lot of good frequencies that will help clear away a lot of negativity. Not sure what this, sometimes he has the hertz on the frequencies and other times he doesn't. But it really helps. So yeah, I mean, throughout our whole life, we're taught, like, well, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. And if you don't, why? You're shamed. If you feel that you want to go and do something else, you want to go be a painter, you want to be a photographer, you want to be a nomad and go and travel everywhere, right? You don't want to be a doctor. You don't want to be a lawyer. Like I wanted to be a lawyer at one time, but what turned me off about a lot of things in this realm is that it takes so long. And one of the singers that I had stitched was talking about, somebody was saying, well, how can you be depressed if you've made it as a singer, And see what I didn't know until I saw a mini doc on it was that people don't realize. And actually, it wasn't a mini doc. It was a woman who was presenting it like a kind of a buzz. And she's on here on TikTok, and she helps, especially Black female singers, get into the business and make sure that they're legally protected. And she said, what people don't realize is when you think that, okay, because now you're in the light, they're in the lights and the cameras and stuff like that, they're in debt. You got a contract with a record company and you got to produce this many songs and whatever. You got in advance, right? Remember, I used to work jobs where I could get in advance, right? But it didn't mean that I had to pay that. So that's what they took out of my check when it finally came. So if I got an advance of $80, I was $80 down. So they're not living, lives of luxury. That's why some people, if they're one-hit wonders and nobody else wants to listen to them anymore, they can't afford that lifestyle. They can't afford that house, right? So somebody's like, how the fuck can you be depressed? And she said something. She said, like, you remember how she was like about candy. It's like how you wanted to have that candy and your parents kept saying no. And then when they were gone, you finally snuck the candy or whatever. I related it to when I was a kid and I wanted a Big Mac because all the parents were getting the Big Macs. And here I had, because part of my punishment was being starved, but sometimes I would get a Happy Meal. And so you got this little portion of fries and you got this flat ass burger. And I'm watching them eating their Big Macs and they got, this 2-decker thing. And I'm like, hey, how come I can't wait to be an adult? I couldn't wait to be an adult to be on my own because I got tired of I never wanted to be under somebody's thumb. This is why I start my own businesses because I don't like working for other people. I do realize that, we all realize that sometimes if you got a good job, that's based on I have to do something that's based on my personality and is safe for my spirit. Right? So me working graveyard, even though I'd like to see, go through the day, see the sun throughout the day. This works for me. Right? So, but anyway, when I got that Big Mac, when I got to be an adult, it was like, it wasn't a really big thing. And then come to find out that McDonald's food can stay in your digestive system for at least 30 days. I was like, okay, no, I'm good. I can make my own Big Mac at home. Right? Because I had that independence. I didn't really want the Big Mac because when I got it, I wanted independence. And I saw that Big Mac as being independence. So sometimes people may think if I become a famous actress, if I become a famous singer, right? Then that'll be me and I'll have that independence. And sometimes it's really, that's my segue into independence. Not to say that they're not talented in what they're doing, But when she said that, I could relate. And also people don't realize it's like we come into this world in our prime, most of us. you know, or many of us, I should say, come in. There's a lot more than that in Hollywood to be protected from. Oh, I know. What on YouTube? Altona 777 is for these frequencies that I play, because I have these, you know, my stalkers watch my lives. And every time she watches my live, she does witchcraft. And I start feeling on this side, I start feeling dizzy and sick to my stomach. And I've been fine all day. I mean, she literally yesterday, she was attacking me all day. And I'm just like, you know, you're on your way out. And people don't understand. You're on your way out when you start doing stuff to people that have done nothing to you. When people have done nothing to you, and you're attacking them because you're 5150 basically, and you're demon possessed, you're done. And one of them has a birthday coming in. So I already made that decree, and my words don't return to me void. So go ahead and keep what you're doing. Keep it up, because you're out. You're done. You were told to leave me alone, and you keep wanting to screw with me. So you can watch me for the last time until your birthday, but you're not going to fuck with me anymore. You know, you should have checked my spiritual team instead of leading with your ego. All right. Enough said about this trick, but, and not being discouraging. She really is the prostitute on top of everything. So anyway, so that, I don't get into messy. I don't get into drama like that. But anyway, so, you know, it's people want to take you when you're at your prime. Okay, when we come down into this world, the first thing to do is literally a system of breaking down, right? Those who are gifted and susceptible to mind control and training that they can manipulate, there's parents that they can manipulate and do whatever, they go into this category. They're shopped off into this room. Those who are resistant, they go through to breaking them down. And it's not just a breakdown of people who you meet. It's all throughout your life. I know that some of you Phoenixes can relate to me on that. Of being broken down. Like there's nothing that you could do because you refuse to assimilate. You're strong. I had people telling me all my life, you're so strong. And they would kind of give me this glazed kind of look. And then they'd look, or they'd look, what is that word? Like they admired me, but it was also like they felt sorry and guilty too, because they became part of the problem. Okay. So when you're not doing your work, right? When you're not doing your work, it all starts within you, right? If it all starts within you, I had to look at what my thoughts were and who told me how I feel, who conditioned me to feel that I was only here to be a punching bag and a servant for other people until I died. That's what my family told me. That's what their actions said. And when I got out, other people who read those trauma wounds on me, who saw that data, right? Who read it on me, thought it was okay to treat me like that because I had already been groomed and primed beforehand. People with cluster B personality disorders, right? Those character disturbances. It's not a mental illness, it's a character disturbance, though they can also have a mental illness. One can be healed with medication, with cognitive therapy, with exercise. You know, you have, and the character disturbance is a series of patterns and beliefs followed by belief system that causes them to believe that what they're doing is okay. Those of you who have had relationships with the narcissistic sociopath, they are not in reality. They cannot tell their fantasy of themselves from reality because they have too many personas. They wear too many masks. And which each one, they're obsessive and they're possessive. So when they target you, they're never going to let you go, whether it doesn't matter. Even if you are 5,000, 3,000 miles away from them and you're living your life, maybe you have, cluster B personalities who, they're going to go about their business. But I have the ones who are literally in a psychosis and are so demon possessed because of the practices, the rituals and shit to Santa Muerte. These guys have been doing this gang shit, for a long time. So you know, not everybody is going through it like I am, but you know, because sometimes you can leave without any further harassment, but it doesn't mean that you won't be on their mind. Okay, it doesn't mean that you won't be on their mind, because they're always going to be thinking that's the one that got away. But especially if you are a high vibrating supply, right, which they got fed off of, and when they're fed, see what they do is they siphon your energy, right? Because you haven't learned to shield yourself yet. Like I said, when I feel her coming on and trying to penetrate my brain, one of them is it's really hard too, because when you're an empath and you're sensitive to energies, right? You feel them, you hear them. And this one's called Spellbreaker. You feel them and you hear them. It's hard because this woman is a sex offender. DJ in San Francisco is a sex offender. So I feel and hear when you're getting into somebody else's energy. Those of you who practice witchcraft and want to astral project and body swap and superimpose your fragmented spirit into somebody else, know this. We're going to know the tea. And this woman is a pedophile. So that's what makes it really hard. And I keep shielding, but see, because she has a character disturbance and she has no boundaries. With these cluster B personalities, they don't have any boundaries. Like, she knows that she's a pedophile. She doesn't care though. Right? Because it's not, she's one of those equal opportunity sex offenders. Like, I go from, 5 to 25. That's her range. Right? So when she comes into my energy field, as pure, I've done mantras, I've done prayers, right? I'm fasting, so I'm light. Everything is honed. So when demonic entities come into my energy, I can feel what you've been doing the whole damn day. I can hear what you're thinking. Doesn't matter if you're 3,000 miles away. And with these guys, they're so damn toxic. With these cluster B characterly disturbed people, they're so toxic. Their thoughts are very nasty, and like I said, they obsess, especially over high supply, which means that if you're vibrating very high, it's like cocaine for them, right? It's like cocaine for them, because then they go out and pretend that they're you or live out some type of fantasy. Right? Because they're energized now. Now they got the confidence. But that's you having done your work. That's not them. So that's why they have to literally hold you hostage to them energetically, if not physically and energetically. This is why I keep impressing upon you, Phoenixes, to get to know yourself. A lot of these people who have wounds, who have embarrassments, who have shame, right? It's like you can have shame, you can have embarrassment, but you can walk through it and still get to where you need to go. Thank you, Kizzy Jones. Yeah, boundaries, no valleys. Yeah, I can have boundaries either. I can't have boundaries either, but it's due to the abuses of a child in the valleys that were crossed. Yeah. I'm still bewildered. I don't understand why they are the way that they are, Lynette. Rad said, unconditionally. I was worried I was a psychopath, but I am an empath. Yeah, no, and I have another video because I was being stalked yesterday because I was having fun. So somebody saw me, and again, like, I've been under this gang stalking for a long time, and it's taught me a lot. It's taught me a lot. Like, these are grown, and I was just thinking to myself, these are grown ass people who are bullying, like high schoolers, other people because they want something, or just because they think it's fun. You know what I mean? Like, normal people are usually focused on going to the job, going to get their hair done, doing laundry, doing homework with the kids. You know what I mean? Spending time with their partner, something like that. But these people, and the weird thing is I saw it coming. But anyway, I said something about that. Like, people We are not the cluster bees, right? The difference when people say, oh, you're mirroring the narcissist or the narcissist is mirroring you. The narcissist mimics very well with pristine precision how to be normal. And they hide themselves pretty well. You get those sloppy ones, though, who that have been in it so long and they get careless because they're arrogant. I've been getting away with it for so long. Why should I care? This is another stupid one. This is another target. They're not going to see me coming because I've destroyed so many people and I still have this harem. A harem doesn't have to be that they're dating everybody. A harem can just simply be, I have this person that I'm tethered into. I have this person that I've hooked my toxic cords on. And I also have that person and I'm working on another one. Right? Work, hate spell check. It's okay. They stunted mentally because they haven't done. Yeah, and they won't. So that's why Phoenix says I'm offering these workshops. The first out of the 5 is the self-talk. Do you know what you're talking to, what you're saying to yourself? Are you conscious of it? Right? And that's a 3-day workshop, 40 minutes on Zoom, $35. Go to the link in my profile to get your seat. Now it's only 2 weeks. It's at April 13th. 3:30, and we will be having it from the 13th, 14th to the 15th, because you need to start. If I wouldn't have already had a spiritual foundation, right? This going deeper on my soul journey for whatever God has planned for me, I still don't know. And the only reason why I don't know is because I've been under heavy attack. And a lot of us earth angels and spiritualists who have been under heavy attack, and we've been seeing this change. Like, I don't know about you guys, but the energy has been really weird for me for the last 2 weeks. Very weird. So it's not just, it seems to be in general, right? Something changed and there's this resistance, but there's like this torque. If you can imagine like a turn, like something's trying to turn and it's turning, but it's real slow, right? Real slow, but it's turning. And there's people who are resistant. Tethered to toxicity. Beautiful inside and out. Yes, you bet. I don't have the $30. You're worth it as an information source of creative father is teaching me. Good job. And no worries. Like I said, yeah, thank you. I appreciate the good feedback though. And just let me know what you guys need help with. I mean, go to my Linktree link in my profile, and there's all my social media. There's all my Square site. You too have a blessed and beautiful day, beautiful inside and out. There's all this information. You can do one-on-one sessions too. There's prices are on there, and let's wrap it up. But anyway, so if I hadn't have had that foundation and been thinking about what I'm thinking about, right? Like, why am I thinking this way? Why am I upset? Right? People thought I was overdoing it. It's like, no, I need to be conscious because I'm in communication with God. My intuition, the transmission that God gives you, right? That forms that we call our intuition is for the next indicated step. So in order to be obedient, I need to be what? Quiet and focused. I don't need somebody else's chatter. I don't need the chatter from 10 years ago about what somebody told me. And when that comes up, I need to address it. Right? Like just recently, I told my coach, I saw her, coaches need coaches. I told my coach, I said, look, hey, I was wondering, it's like, I've been kind of, a bit down because I'm frustrated with the psychic attacks and the spiritual attacks and the spiritual warfare. And it's like, I'm starting to get really, I told her, I'm starting to think about doing things that could blow it out. She goes, no, just be still. Right? If you think that you missed your chance, you have. What you need to do, sometimes when we get off kilter, we feel that God is distant or our guides are distant. Sometimes it's not that they're distant. It's that we've shut down because we're tired. right? And sometimes it's not just we're tired because of the negative demonic energy and entities that are being sent to us as people projecting cluster B person. This is why I say they're demon possessed. These are demonic individuals, because when it's not coming from a person who is demon possessed, it's coming from that actual entity. That's their function. Their function is to make you struggle. Their function is to make you doubt yourself. This is why you have to think about what you're thinking about. What are you telling yourself? And is that actually coming from you, or was that something that you heard as a child? Whether it was directed towards you or not, is it something toxic that you heard as a child that was turned into something cutesy, right? That barbed wire, that barbed, laced candy that you're still carrying with you that you need to let go, right? Because if you're not thinking about what you're thinking about, then anybody can infect you with whatever they want you to know. Well, however, there are people who can look at your image or focus on you. Your imagination is key. They can focus on you and imagine as if they're right there with you, beside you, telling you to go left when you know you need to go right, telling you to drive your car off a cliff or to jump off of an 80-story building. See, think about what you're thinking about. How do you talk to yourself, Phoenixes? How do you talk to yourself? Okay, this is the reason why, because people are dying slowly from insidious subliminal messaging that's being inserted into them. It's not just the talk that's being inserted, that death talk, that suicide talk, that depression talk, or you'll never amount to anything, just give it up. Or why would you do that? Right? And your body starts reacting in that anxiety. You think it's okay, it's the PTSD. And it's like, well, no, this is somebody who is stirring up, is messing with your chakras. They got to take out the root. The root chakra means that you're grounded. You're stable, right? You have those Maslow period. You have the home, you have food, you have money. You're good, right? You're good. Then they get into your sacral chakra. Those two are very important for the rest of them, because you need that stability. You need that grounding. And then in that is where your heart is. That's your other brain. That's your other heart, really. Right? I feel everything in my heart. And my attacks these last 2 weeks have been somebody trying to shift how I work and I function. On a physical level, right? So you have to, even if it sounds weird to you guys, right? Think about situations, Phoenixes, where you guys have been like, gosh, I knew I should have gone left, or I knew I should have put in this application when I was told to, when I was right there, right? Yesterday, I was so mad because I got, going through the gang stalking attacks and then the psychic attacks. And I thought, oh my God, this is, because you get frustrated, you get exhausted, because it's like you guys have already been beaten, right? I literally took a video of a guy that I had seen while I was at the barber shop and doing my laundry. He had walked past, I was going up to the barber shop and he was coming, he was passing it. And I was walking from the laundromat to the barber shop. I later saw this guy suddenly dressed in red and black and white. And if you guys go to my replays, because I've talked about this gang affiliation, this Norteños shit. And when I walked up, I had my camera out and I was talking in it, doing a video, and put it on him. And he still kept filming me. So it's the thing to get you in your head, but it didn't bug me, and I was telling in my God talk, I was like, gosh, this is different. Why? Because I've dealt with it in my head. I already know what they're doing. You know, there are going to be sometimes, well, I will have a reaction because why? I'm feeling sensitive. It's that time of the month. Or, you know, something else is coming up for me emotionally that God's dealing with me on so that I can become stronger. So that's no longer a weakness, right? What my goal is as a life coach and a NARC coach is to get you to get rid of your weaknesses. If it's your hair, then you need to cut it off, right? If it's smoking, then you need to stop smoking. If it's drinking, you need to stop drinking, right? If it's being stagnant and sedentary, then you need to start walking. You need to get active. Right? If it's something that somebody has said to you and they followed it up with violence and murderous threats or whatever, then you need to start going through that. Well, is that real? Is that real? When I became an adult and I got what I wanted as a child, it was no longer suffice because I wasn't that child anymore. So that's why you put away your childish things. See, now you're still holding yourself hostage. I've done it where I'm still holding myself hostage. I had to ask God this last 2 weeks when my God talk, hey, why am I still holding myself hostage? Is there something? Am I creating something? It's like, I know that we've gotten up off the streets. We're doing very well on social media. We're doing very well with the professional life coach stuff. We're doing very well with doing the motivational speaking. But I was like, I want to get out of this area because it's holding me back, because you can only go so far around toxic people because the vibration in the atmosphere is low. Right? And I've said before, I live in Sacramento. This is a gang stalking city. This is how they literally function. It's normal for them. It's normal. Like, I'm the abnormal one here. You know? So I had to ask, like, what is holding me back? Is there something that I'm doing? Because I'll be damned if I've gone through 15 years of hell that was, some of it which was projected onto me to keep me in that pitiful, sheepish, fearful state so that I don't fight back. I'm too afraid to fight back. Right? And other people watch them attack me. And this is with anybody. You see how the hidden hand, they're always